Hi, welcome to Grassroots Analytics Insider. I'm Julia. This is Matt Finn. Thanks for coming on the podcast. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got to GA.
Hi, well, thanks for having me first off. It's good to be on the podcast.
Yay!
So I'm the engineering manager here. I've been here for about 7 months now.
Mm.
Um, and it's a bit of a whirlwind story of how I got here. I was just reached out cold by a recruiter one day, and I started researching Grassroots because he sent me the details of this role, and I just started investigating, and I just really felt passionate about the state of the world and where we are today in the political landscape. And I've been in DC for a number of years and
Mm.
never really contributed to anything political. And I felt like it was time to jump in there and do
Wow.
more stuff.
I love that story.
Yeah,
Cool.
it's just like we're such in the center of the political hemisphere here,
Yeah,
and I just feel like by being in DC, you can't avoid what's going on in DC.
100%.
And yeah, I think it's just really nice to be a part of that now,
Okay,
honestly.
amazing. I love that story. I think it's so cool when people just kind of like come to things a little bit randomly. So tell us a little bit more about your role on the team.
So like I said, engineering manager came in a few months ago, and I've been in charge of leading the engineering team at Grassroots
Hmm.
for that time. And kind of as the former CTO was kind of stepping out a little bit, me stepping in and taking in more of the ownership there.
Cool.
Um, and I've been in charge of kind of moving things forward on the technical side. We have Quiller on the tech side, which we're continuing to invest into and make improvements on,
Yeah.
uh, and also build up the engineering team as well, and kind of really transforming the tech team here. Like a year ago, the tech team looked very different than it does right now. Like we've added a few new team members
Hmm.
and ramped up the hiring side, and we're also really excited about some of the AI capabilities that we're starting to build up. Um, Improving Quiller, like I said, and the AI capabilities there.
Yeah.
And yeah, just moving our tech vision forward.
Cool. Amazing. I Grassroots has always been a tech company. I love what you said about kind of like moving us forward and really just leveling up. As we like to say, we're building the progressive tech advantage here, and I think that's
Hmm.
so true. And you're really doing that.
And we want to keep that advantage.
Keep the advantage, bring it forward. So in that spirit, we had our first hackathon last week here at
Yes.
GA. Tell us what a hackathon is and what happened.
Well, so in a typical hackathon, you have a few days where you kind of get into a room with some other engineers, maybe some product people, and just go at an idea. And at the end of it, you do a demo and kind of show off what you've done.
Hmm.
The hackathon is really meant to be like a super focused, like in-depth thing where you're just trying to solve this one little itty bitty thing,
Yeah.
and you have a little bit more room to be creative in the solutions. So
Mm.
much what we do in like the tech world is like, here's a problem we're solving. We've written some sort of documentation that explains exactly what we want to do,
Yeah.
and then we just like go out and do it.
Right.
And the hackathon's more like, hey, let's get some ideas, let's throw stuff at the wall, let's see if it works, and really be more experimental with the
Got it.
solution.
Very cool. Have you ever done a hackathon before?
Yes, I've been a part of a few hackathons. This is the first time I'm leading in a hackathon, though.
Okay, cool. So what did you learn?
The hackathons are fun and a lot of work to set up.
Yeah.
Uh, we took a lot of different ideas from parts of the business and kind of curated them a lot before we gave them to the teams,
Cool.
and we kind of let the teams choose which problems that they wanted to attack.
Oh, interesting. Okay, cool.
So it was a bit of work to set it up there and get the ball moving, but
Yeah.
I'm really encouraged with what we've accomplished in those 2 days.
Amazing.
And there's definitely like three or four things that we actually will put out into production for
Yeah.
everybody else to play with and test.
Amazing. What a great outcome from just 2 short days.
Yeah.
But all the work you did before, of course.
Mhm.
Did anything kind of surprise you about the ideas that came forward or the team responding to them?
So the team really took ownership a lot of the problems that we gave them. Like one of the things I kept pushing them on was like at a lot of organizations, the tech team is often like to the side and like kind of a little bit separated from things because we have our own world that we're like in
Yeah,
and we like
sure.
to play with our toys in that world. And sometimes it can be like hard for the engineers to like kind of get out of their bubble and like interface with everybody else.
Yeah.
Uh, this hackathon was a great opportunity to do that though, and like for everybody to interface with people that they don't normally do.
Yeah.
Like we took a lot of ideas internally, like I said, uh, and the way I organized it was there's a stakeholder in that, the person who gave that idea and had the most context. If you took that idea, you had to go and interface with that person in the other part of the business and
Got it.
learn more about their problems and their world as a part of
Right.
this.
Right. I do feel like that context is so important in fixing these problems because if you just took it on paper, you wouldn't really know like the background or anything. So I love the stakeholder involvement there. Okay, so you did set this up as a competition, which is
Yeah.
so fun and exciting, especially for the people that were just watching and were not directly involved. Can you tell us about the scope of the projects and then like how it went as a competition?
Yeah. So, like I said, we kind of curated some of the different problems
Hmm.
uh, that people had and kind of distilled them down a little bit for the teams and make sure it's like kind of a worthy product
Right.
project.
Right.
Um, and the teams kind of took those issues and um, they used a lot of AI actually in what they were doing, which surprised me. And everybody kind of got on the AI train.
Mm.
Even like the product managers and the UX designers, they fully embrace like AI as trying to solve stuff. And we even have some examples of those people writing code using Claude and
Cool.
some of the other tools out there,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
with the engineers and kind of
Oh my
getting their
God.
hands dirty a little bit,
That's so
which I
cool.
think was super exciting to see. I
Yeah.
think in normal day to day, everybody's a little scared of these new tools. So to have a space where it's just like, hey, just go out, try some stuff. If it doesn't work, no big deal.
Yeah.
I think was really fun for the teams.
Cool. So tell us about who won.
So we have some upcoming stuff in Quiller actually
Yeah.
that might make the cut. The team that won uh, did a project within the Quiller space, and I can't say too much right now, but uh, we're gonna ship it out to people and see what they think in the coming weeks.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Very exciting. Um, I think the winner, just for like a quick little tidbit, is really great for small campaigns and organizations. I think it's really going to help people that are really relying on either themselves or a small staff. And yeah,
Hmm.
we're super excited about it because it's another thing that grassroots can do and provide that breaks down the barriers to running for office and raising money and supporting progressive agendas everywhere. So we're very excited about that.
Hmm.
um okay, can you tell us a little bit about what about a hackathon makes it possible to do something from start to finish?
So it's really just taking people out of their normal flow.
Mm,
Because like so much of what we do is like regimented, is like this is step A, this is step B, this is step C, and
yeah.
hackathon is more just like here's a problem, go figure it out. Like we don't really care.
Right, you have 2 days.
Yeah, you have
Yeah.
2 days. Like it's like engineers especially, like we do a lot of review of the stuff that people are doing
Mm,
before it actually gets into the hands of like our users.
right.
So for us to kind of have the reins taken off and like we don't really care, like do whatever you have to do to like show this off and show a good demo, I think is very freeing for a lot of folks and
Yeah.
it's very fun that way too because there's less constraints on what we can do.
Yeah.
Minus time, of course. You
Right, for sure.
have to get it done.
Do you think you'll do more at grassroots?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
we've had so much excitement from internally, not only the folks participating in the hackathon, but people giving us ideas. I've already had a few people internally that have come to me with other ideas that they want to implement and go after.
Yeah.
I know Megan, our CEO, has plenty of other
Oh my
ideas.
gosh, she's full of ideas. Okay, you've talked a little bit about AI a couple times, and how, the team used it for the hackathon, and then how we have products that are leaning on and providing AI, such as Quiller. Can you just give us a little refresher on like what AI is and how we're using it here at Grassroots?
Yeah, sure. So with AI, there's a lot of different flavors. If we take like the newest stuff, which is the Chat GPTs, the Geminis, the Claudes,
Sure.
uh, all that stuff is kind of built off of like decades of like research and development
Mm,
of like other AI methods.
yeah.
Like machine learning used to be thrown around a lot like
Hmm.
5, 10 years ago, and that's still in play here. Um, and the chat GPTs are all kind of like build off of that stuff. So like the basis is we're taking in like a bunch of data and we're trying to create these models that are learning about that data and then can either like mimic it or make certain decisions based off of that. So like, we take the dog analogy, where like, in training your dog, if you ever trained a dog before, there's a lot of times you have to tell it no
Yeah.
before it like sits there and takes the treat or
Right.
like, it's the same thing with these models. You have to tell these models like many, many, many times like what to do in this circumstance, what to do in that circumstance. And over time they kind of build up these neurons of like, okay, I need to take this direction, not that. And so all this stuff is kind of building up on each other. Like
Hmm.
for the newest like Claude and Chat GPTs, they're all learning from the stuff we're doing.
Right,
They're learning
right.
from articles, from books, from all these different sources to build up like a repository of like things like text messages or not text messages, building up from things like books and like code's a great example actually of like there's so much code out in the world that has built already
Yeah,
and chances are you don't actually need to rewrite everything. You just need to take bits
sure.
from here and here to like build up the next application. um, and so when you're asking a question it has this repository of all this knowledge and it's just synthesizing it for you and kind of mimicking what has been put into it essentially.
Hmm. What are the pros and cons of AI being accessible to everyone rather than just engineers and kind of tech people?
That's a good one. Obviously, it can be very dangerous, especially when these models first came out. Everybody's really worried that they were going to be used for nefarious purposes. Like
Right.
spam was like a huge one early
Yeah.
on.
I think that's still a concern for
Yeah,
sure.
like
Yeah.
we have all these AI fakes everywhere.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's a thing, but I mean, it's the same thing when the printing press was created. Like information was being shared very differently, and we kind of had to
Right.
adapt to that and figuring out as like humans and businesses, etc., like how that changes things for us.
Yeah.
So it's the same way with this, where like, maybe we need to change our spend filters in the future to recognize what's AI and what's not and kind of
Right.
curate them out.
Right. Right. Right.
So there's still a lot of danger in this. And, we are at a tipping point with these new tools where it's doing so much for us that hasn't been done before in different ways. Um, and there's different avenues of like attack essentially that we all have to
Mm.
account to in our lives. We use the AI videos, for example. Uh, I don't think Trump's a nurse.
Or Jesus.
Or
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
And like you can create AI that like makes everything look very realistic, like that has actually happened in real life. So we need
Right.
to adjust ourselves and learn that like we can't trust everything.
Yeah, for sure. And I think what you said about bad actors is definitely true and really on people's minds, especially politically.
Yeah.
Um, can you tell us a little bit more about the pros of using AI, especially in a political context?
Yeah. So, I mean, we can use it to accelerate all of our work. I mean, we're seeing it on the engineering side where these technologies are really making us run faster
Mm,
with the stuff that we're able to build quickly. And we can also use it for generating like content. For example, Quiller,
sure.
you can kind of curate exactly what your messaging you want to be. And then with a few clicks or a few extra prompts, you can really have uh, a workshop of like stuff that's being put out,
Yeah.
of like different content for like texting or email,
Hmm.
or you need notes for your phone call potentially,
Totally.
a lot of different things.
How does GA offer like quality assurance and guardrails for AI tools like Quiller?
So with Quiller, we are continually testing it and making sure that it's not going off the rails.
Hmm.
Like every piece of code that goes into there is reviewed by humans, and we're making sure that it's not spitting out dangerous and nefarious content as well.
Mm,
We do a lot of testing to ensure that that's not the case with Quiller because we don't want Quiller to be used for some purpose that we didn't design it for
right.
and
Totally.
be a part of the problem.
Yeah.
I still think it's very important that like everything that AI does has a human component to it, and that everything that either like we're building on the engineering front or like a campaign is like putting out from like a content piece,
Hmm.
it still has to be reviewed and approved and checked by humans. These AI models are really amazing and they really change a lot of things, but they still get a lot of stuff wrong
Yeah,
and produce a lot of slop and can be very dangerous if we don't put certain guardrails on them.
sure.
So it's very important that we take these things seriously and we use them as a tool and make sure that we as like the humans are still driving the ship
Totally,
forward
totally.
and we're not letting the AI kind of run things
Yeah,
into a different direction.
for sure. I think a lot of times when we're talking about AI politically, especially on the left, there's a lot of fear around things like data security and nefarious actors, like we talked about before. And so it's really important that people who are progressive are making AI tools that are going to be for progressives, that like that your data is safe with us. And I think that is something that gives a lot of left of people on the left who are maybe a little reluctant to take up AI, the tools that they need to be competitive.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, well, if we further dive into that, actually,
yeah,
like I think it's so important that we embrace these technologies as much as we can, with the
yeah,
caveats that they can be dangerous,
right.
because these tools are here, they're not going anywhere,
Mm-mm.
and we should view them as like they can speed up things and they can increase our productivity,
Yeah,
with the caveats that they can be dangerous, of course.
exactly.
But yeah, I we shouldn't be skeptics. We should embrace this technology.
Right. And put our best people on it.
Yes.
Yeah, because I think you're absolutely right. Like one of the things we say about Quiller is that you can write more and go faster.
Yeah.
And it's like you can get from an idea to a draft in seconds instead of hours, days even. And so that really can speed along just like what you're able to do, but still have the human in it.
Yep.
You came to GA from several different industries in the AI and emerging tech world. Can you talk a little bit about how your tech toolbox has changed as you kind of applied these skills in different industries?
Yeah. So with every industry, it's a different problem set that you're like trying to solve for is the way I
Sure.
think about it. And the tools you need to use are slightly different. Um, with I for a short time I worked at Capital One, for example, and we're essentially trying to sell credit cards to people. So
Right.
the way that you build the technology is targeting towards that, and you're using data to essentially do marketing, and get people on the platform.
Sure.
Whereas at GA we're trying to help small grassroots campaign win and win big.
Yeah.
Um, and so for us, it becomes about the data and uh, all the pieces of data that we have that can influence the campaign. We have to be careful with, and especially in the context of like AI, these tools are continuing to change. So you kind of need to stay on top of the latest updates on the AI front. But yeah, it's all about like problem solving at the end of the day and choosing the right tools for the job.
Mm.
Here at like GA, we touch on a lot of data, and just making sure that we're responsible with that is always a good thing. But in terms of like tech tools, AI will continue to help us on our journey of building good software. But I think the responsibility aspect is important, and that's the most important tool, is that we make responsible software, and that
Yeah.
doesn't change across industries.
Right. Right. Totally. Can you talk a little bit about how this hackathon supports the GA pillars or supports a GA pillar?
Yeah. So I think this one supports our eat the frog pillar the most.
Yes.
Uh,
If you don't know, eat the frog means do the hard thing.
yeah. We want to do the hard thing at GA, not sit on our laurels. And sometimes we can get caught into this cycle of like, all right, everything's going great. Uh, you know, we're cruising here. We don't need to do anything different. But I think especially in with the background of like AI, and that's changing a lot right now. We
Hmm.
can't sit on our laurels, and we need to continue to innovate
Yes.
and drive forward. And the hackathon is a good example of how we can kind of continue to drive that change by taking people out of their regular day to day
Right.
and taking risks and
Yeah.
trying things out constantly. So, like we said, we're going to do more hackathons
Do the
coming
hard
up.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
More hackathons. Amazing. What are you feeling hopeful about right now?
I'm hopeful that we are continuing to move in a way where we're beginning to understand these technologies more, um, and the political landscape as well. I think there was a lot of hope in 2024 around changes
Yeah.
that never materialized.
Yeah.
Um, and I think we kind of knew a little bit of like we're never gonna materialize,
Right,
but
right,
I'm
right.
hoping the rest of the world and the rest of the country is like kind of realizing that change will come, but we have to protest. We have to make our voice heard for that to happen. And that has not been happening the last year, and that change is on the horizon. We just need to wait it out.
Yeah, that is really inspiring. I do feel like a lot of people feel that way but don't say it, and so then it just feels like everything is bad.
Hmm.
Which I think is also really great to work somewhere like GA because you know that everyone here is working towards the same future that we all want.
Yeah, well, we can see it in the campaigns that we work
We
with.
can,
We
yeah.
when we get a win, it really is moving things forward in a way that if you work for a bank or you work for an AI company, let's say, you don't necessarily see those changes up front and like the wave that's coming. I hope,
Yeah.
cross fingers.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
But we get to see that day to day as we kind of rack up wins.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah, the impact is quite visible. Amazing. Well, thank you so much for sharing all this information. We can't wait to talk about more hackathons with you. Um, yeah, thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.